unless you live in a cave in the forest, you've heard about it. Wherever you look, whoever you speak to, you can't avoid seeing or hearing something about The Rings of Power, Amazon's new series based on Tolkien's books. Based is a big word here. I feel harassed by all the buzz and publicity around it. I don't like making negative videos, but this particularly heavy shelling makes me feel like I need to say my piece about this, especially because Tolkien's universe is one of the main topics of this channel. To put it bluntly, I really needed to force myself to watch the first episodes of the series, as I think it's really difficult to bear for anyone that has really fallen in love with Tolkien's original work, as opposed to some alleged fan that wasn't interested in the books. These are fans of the new series, of the movies, of whatever director, actor, or monster, but not of Tolkien in any case. In this video, you won't see any single picture taken from a so-called Tolkien movie. Many YouTubers are so obviously pleased to release a flood of pictures from this new series, even those that seem to have mixed feelings about it can't resist the temptation. And no mistake, it achieves the goal. Millions of views. Good for them, but not me. I wouldn't think much of myself if I came down to that. And too bad if I don't get any views. Self-esteem and honest modesty is more valuable than usurped glory. So if you came to see Commander Galadriel leading a handful of superheroes roaming Middle-earth for ages trying to find the secret fortress of Sauron and playing the cliffhangers with Elrond, you can switch to another channel. Here will be shown only genuine artistic work that has at least something to do with Tolkien as a background. There are no real Tolkien movies so far. Those that have taken the name went the wrong way. You won't adapt Tolkien's universe to the screen just by showing a lot of beautiful pictures, and even less by showing disgusting ones. Some directors seem to think that if they reach a certain level of beauty and horror, they'll achieve the goal. They don't seem to understand that Tolkien's strength is not in depiction. You can't come closer to Tolkien's universe just because the scenes and characters you feature are close to his description. It's not as simple as that. When will people understand that Tolkien's works are indissociable with literature? Many stories from various authors are perfectly adaptable to the screen, and some movies are indeed at least as good as the book they come from. But that's nearly impossible for Tolkien's. The Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit, The Silmarillion, and all the stories that came first were made to be books and nothing else, except only audiobooks that don't alter the original in any way. Why? For a few simple reasons that I've reminded again and again on this channel. Because their strength is not in depiction, but on suggestion. A more suitable screen adaptation would have featured not over-detailed, but on the contrary, hazy, fuzzy, loose pictures. It would have succeeded in coming closer to Tolkien's world not by desperately trying to show it, but by suggesting everything while remaining largely mysterious. Tolkien deliberately leaves a large part to your imagination, yours and not someone else's. He didn't believe in pointillism where you detail a picture so much as it comes close to reality. On the contrary, he believed in fairy tales, in an imaginary world that was to remain imaginary. Is it so difficult to understand? You won't achieve it with the best pictures, nor with the best actors, which is not even the case in any of these films. The Rings of Power, The Hobbit, and The Lord of the Rings are very short of that, except a handful of passable ones. Not even speaking of the many ridiculous and clownish scenes that take away once and for all any meager interest that the few good scenes instigated in these films. They were big commercial successes because they appealed to a lot of people. Good for them, but please don't associate Tolkien's name with that. Everything that Tolkien said about the many tries to adapt his works tells that he would not have liked these films at all. He would have been appalled. There were a few artists that he approved of when it came to illustrating his works in the 50s or 60s. For example, Pauline Baynes, Mary Fairbairn, or Queen Margaret II of Denmark, and he probably would have approved of the more recent wonderful works by Alan Lee or John Howe. But as a rule, he always insisted that there was no need for illustrations to his books. No illustrations. And you speak about cinema? Even TV series? Are you kidding? I'm amazed that a widespread idea among people who have only heard of Tolkien's books is that they are full of endless depictions of places and characters. That's not the case. At least, that's a distortion of the words. In reality, Tolkien's pages are full of references to places and characters, but their individual depiction is absolutely not endless, and on the contrary, very brief, often frustratingly short. The author only suggests this or that feature. Previous videos on this channel detailed what makes Tolkien's universe a very special one and what makes his books outstanding. The Rings of Power have nothing of that, or so few that it's a shame. Same thing for The Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings series. They have very little to do with Tolkien. It's called The Lord of the Rings, but it's not Tolkien's. It's Jackson's or someone else's. It's their interpretations, and they are very, very far from the original, much more than most people think, even those who actually don't like them. I'm sad to see that a lot of people think they know Tolkien's Lord of the Rings because they've seen the movies. They sure don't. And by watching this new series dealing with the first 2 ages of the world that the Rings of Power is allegedly about, they won't come closer to know it at all. Grab a book, read, then you'll really get something from Tolkien. And that something will be more than just having a good time watching a film, even if you liked those. Take my word for it, you'll reach a level of enlightenment you were not suspecting. You'll be truly part of a fairy tale.